Under the golden chandelier of their suburban Atlanta dining room, Ryan Carter stood tall, suit pressed, pride sharper than the silverware on the table. Across from him sat Emma, 8 months pregnant, one hand resting on her belly, the other trembling around a coffee cup. "Emma," he said coldly, sliding a folder across the polished table, "I think it's time we stop pretending. I want a divorce." The words sliced through the morning like broken glass. The air went still. Even the clock seemed to hold its breath. Standing by the doorway was Maya Grant, Emma's closest friend, and the woman Ryan now couldn't hide his glances from. Maya's perfume lingered in the room, a scent Emma didn't own. He smirked, straightening his tie. "You'll be fine, Emma. You never liked working anyway. I'll make sure you get something small." The humiliation burned deeper than the betrayal. Every guest at yesterday's baby shower had called them the perfect couple. Yet here in the house she decorated with love, he was ending their marriage like a business deal. Emma's lips barely moved. "And what about the woman standing in my doorway?" Ryan's eyes flickered, then hardened. "She understands me. She makes me feel alive." For a moment Emma just looked at him, not with anger, but with an eerie calm that unsettled him. Because deep inside she already knew something he didn't. He thought he was divorcing a helpless wife. He had no idea he was walking away from the woman secretly earning over $600,000 a year. As he turned his back, laughing with Maya, the narrator's voice sinks low. Steady, prophetic. He believed her silence was weakness. He never imagined it was strategy. But betrayal has a way of circling back. And the day will come when the man who asked for a divorce to marry his mistress will face the woman he abandoned, and it will bring him to his knees. This is the story of how a husband asked for a divorce to marry his mistress, unaware his betrayal would one day bring him to his knees. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, please click subscribe. Every single click helps us tell stories of courage and truth, and in the comments, tell us where you're watching from. Because when we share these stories together, we remind each other that even in pain, we can rise. The morning sunlight spilled across the marble dining table of the Carter home in suburban Atlanta, painting gold across a scene that was about to shatter. Ryan Carter, tall, confident, dressed in a navy suit, tapped his finger against a crisp white folder. His wedding ring glinted under the light, a cold reminder of promises soon to be broken. Across from him sat Emma Carter, 8 months pregnant, wearing a soft gray sweater stretched over her round belly. Her eyes were tired but steady. The air smelled of fresh coffee and perfume she didn't own. "Emma," Ryan said, his voice sharp as glass, "we both know this marriage is over. I'm not happy, and I won't live a lie." He slid the folder toward her. Divorce papers. Emma's hand trembled around her coffee cup. Betrayal, humiliation, quiet divorce. Everything she feared was now sitting in front of her in neat legal print. "A divorce?" she asked quietly. "It's for the best," Ryan continued, voice cold, arrogant detachment coating every word. "You'll get something small, enough to survive. You don't work, Emma. You don't earn." Her chest tightened. The baby moved, as if reacting to the cruelty in the air. Behind him by the doorway stood Maya Grant, Emma's best friend since college. Dressed in silk, her perfume heavy in the room, her face wore the perfect mix of false concern and quiet satisfaction. "Ryan," Maya said softly, pretending kindness, "maybe this isn't the right time. Emma's pregnant." Ryan scoffed. "There's never a right time for the truth." Emma looked between them, something inside her clicking into place. The subtle looks, the late-night calls, the sudden distance. All of it finally made sense. "So that's what this is," she whispered. "You and her." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Don't twist things. Maya's been a friend. She understands me." Maya lowered her eyes, a fake apology forming on her lips. "Emma, please don't make this ugly." Ugly! The word echoed like thunder in Emma's mind. She had spent years building this home, the walls painted with dreams, the floors echoing laughter. And now she was being discarded like an accessory. She placed her cup down carefully, controlling her shaking hand. "You think I'm helpless," she said. "You think I need you to survive." Ryan folded his arms, pride swelling. Without me, Emma, you'd have nothing. Everything we have is because of my hard work. Her lips curved into something between pain and irony. Everything we have, Ryan. Are you sure about that? He blinked, confused. But she didn't explain. Not yet. Inside her mind, her thoughts moved fast. Strategic intelligence, quiet planning, self-control under fire, the private bank account under her maiden name, the clients from around the world who sent payments daily, the online firm she'd built quietly from her kitchen. She looked down at the papers again, her pulse slowing. For the first time, she felt calm. "I'll sign them," she said softly. Ryan frowned. "Just like that?" "Yes. You want freedom. You'll have it." He studied her face, searching for tears. There were none. Only a strange, unsettling peace. From the corner of the room, Karen Lewis, their nosy neighbor, peeked through the half-open window, phone in hand, pretending to water her plants. Her eyes widened. Public humiliation brewing already. Ryan gathered his briefcase, smirked, and turned toward the door. "I'll have my lawyer call you. Maya, let's go." Maya hesitated, offering a mock sympathetic smile. "I'll check on you later, okay?" Emma didn't answer. She just stared at the empty chair Ryan left behind. The sound of their car driving away filled the silence. She exhaled slowly, then opened her laptop, the screen flashing with unread messages. At the top was one email. "Payment received. $45,000 transfer confirmed." Her reflection glowed on the screen. A calm smile touched her lips. "You think I'm losing, Ryan," she whispered. "But I was already free." Outside, Karen Lewis whispered into her phone, "You won't believe what I just saw." Inside, Emma placed her hand on her stomach, whispering to her unborn child, "One day they'll understand what silence can build." The camera lingers on the open folder. Divorce agreement. Beside it, the laptop light blinks. New client message, Tokyo. The woman Ryan just dismissed as helpless is earning more than his entire firm. Emma closes the laptop, eyes narrowing slightly. Let him think he's won. The truth will come quietly, and it will bring him to his knees. The argument started with a scent that didn't belong to her. It was late afternoon inside the quiet Carter home. Emma stood by the laundry table, holding Ryan's shirt close to her face. It smelled faintly of floral perfume. Not hers, not even close. The scent carried the weight of another woman's touch. When Ryan walked in, his tie loosened, phone pressed to his ear. She turned toward him. "Who were you with?" she asked. His expression didn't flicker. He ended the call slowly. "Don't start, Emma. You're being paranoid again." The words might not have been spoken aloud, but they hung between them like smoke. She stared at him, the man she once trusted more than anyone. "I'm not imagining things, Ryan. You smell like someone else." He laughed, a sound sharp and hollow. "Maybe it's from the office. I work with people, remember? You wouldn't know much about that." That sting cut deeper than the perfume ever could. The baby kicked inside her belly. Emma steadied herself against the counter. "You don't have to keep hurting me to feel powerful," she said softly. Ryan walked past her, dismissive, picking up his jacket. "I'm not hurting you, Emma. You're just sensitive. That's your problem." From the open doorway, Maya Grant stepped in with a tray of pastries, voice coated in sweetness. "Ryan, I brought those files you asked for." Her eyes darted quickly to Emma, then away, like someone hiding a secret. "Emma, you look tired. Are you eating enough?" Emma smiled faintly, quiet power behind the calm. "I manage just fine. You seem very involved in my husband's schedule these days." Maya chuckled softly. "Well, you know how demanding he can be. Always needs things done perfectly." Ryan smirked. "That's why she's good at her job. Not everyone can keep up." Emma looked at them both, and for a second her heart went still. The way their eyes met, the unspoken chemistry, the subtle betrayal dressed as teamwork. She turned away, heading for the stairs, but her voice was steady. "I hope you both find what you're looking for." Maya opened her mouth to reply, but stopped when she saw the look in Emma's eyes. Cold, calm, unbroken. Upstairs, Emma sat on the edge of the bed, laptop open. The glow of the screen reflected the quiet strength in her face. Payment confirmations lined her inbox. Clients from New York, London, Tokyo, all sending projects to the woman her husband believed was jobless. Her hand hovered over her stomach as she whispered, "He needs to feel in control. Let him. I'll just keep working." Downstairs, Ryan's voice echoed, "She'll sign those papers soon. She's got nowhere to go." Maya's soft laugh followed. "You think so?" Ryan's voice turned proud again. "Without me, she's nothing." Upstairs, Emma closed her laptop gently. Her reflection in the dark screen stared back. A woman quietly reclaiming her power. One message blinked unread. "New partnership inquiry. Carter Industries supply project." She smiled faintly. "Let him think he's untouchable. The storm he's building will start inside his own house." The laughter was loud enough to cover the sound of her heart breaking. The Carter family dinner glowed beneath crystal chandeliers. Guests in elegant suits toasted, glasses clinking in perfect rhythm. Ryan Carter, dressed in his signature black tuxedo, stood at the head of the table with the confidence of a man performing for a crowd. His pregnant wife, Emma, sat beside him, silent, her hand resting protectively on her belly. "To success," Ryan declared, raising his glass, "and to everyone who stood by me through the hard times." The guests cheered. Only Emma noticed how his eyes lingered too long on Maya Grant, who sat 2 seats away, smiling sweetly. Her red dress caught the light, and every pair of eyes in the room. Without warning, Ryan turned toward Emma, his voice sharp enough to silence the room. "You know my wife's lucky," he said, smirking. "She doesn't have to worry about bills or work stress. She just stays home, spends, sleeps." Laughter rippled, awkward, confused. Humiliation flushed Emma's face. Her fork trembled in her hand. Harold Mills, an old family friend, tried to lighten the air. "Now, Ryan, that's not fair. She's carrying your child." Ryan shrugged. "Pregnancy isn't a job, Harold." The table went still. The arrogant detachment, the public disgrace, the mockery, all deliberate. Maya looked down, pretending embarrassment, but the corner of her mouth twitched upward. Clara Stone, a community figure seated nearby, whispered to her friend, "Poor thing, she looks like she's about to cry." Emma didn't. Not this time. She inhaled deeply, forcing her heartbeat to steady. The laughter faded. Even Ryan seemed unsure of what he'd expected. Maybe tears, maybe begging. But she only looked at him and smiled faintly. "You're right, Ryan," she said softly. "I am lucky." He blinked, thrown off balance. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," she replied, voice calm, "you've given me the freedom to see things clearly." Her words landed like quiet thunder. Guests exchanged looks. Maya leaned forward. "She's just tired, Ryan. Maybe we should—" "Sit down, Maya," Emma interrupted gently. "I think we've all heard enough." The power in her tone was soft but solid. For a moment, even Ryan froze. Then he forced a laugh, trying to reclaim control. "You see what I deal with? Always dramatic." The dinner continued, but whispers replaced laughter. Phones slid discreetly from pockets. Karen Lewis, the neighbor, recorded the scene from her seat. Tomorrow the social media gossip would spread like wildfire. As the plates were cleared, Ryan leaned in close to Emma's ear. "You'll regret embarrassing me." "Maybe," she whispered back, "but you'll regret underestimating me." When the guests left, Emma remained seated, staring at the empty glass in front of her. The room still smelled of perfume, success, and betrayal. She placed her hand over her stomach again. "We'll be okay," she murmured to her unborn child, "even if it's just us." Her phone buzzed. A new message. "Payment received. $75,000 from Tokyo client." The screen's glow lit her face, calm and unbroken. Outside in the driveway, Maya's laugh floated through the air, and Ryan's voice followed, low and intimate. The door closed behind them. Emma stood at the window, watching their shadows disappear into the night. "Let them have their moment," she whispered. "It won't last." The reflection of her laptop screen shimmered against the glass, showing a new email subject line. Harper Consulting, Government Proposal. The same project Ryan's firm would soon beg to win. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please, take a second to do it now. Every click, every share, Every comment helps us keep telling stories that give strength to women and children who've been broken, forgotten, or silenced. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting a channel. You're standing beside survivors, saying their stories matter. Turn on your notification bell so you never miss a story that could change a life. And in the comments, tell us, where are you watching from? And what part of this story spoke to your heart? The memory hit Emma like a slap. The moment she saw Maya's red dress gleaming in the dining hall last night, she was dragged back to the first time they ever shared a secret. It was college dorm night, years ago. The two girls sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by textbooks and dreams. Maya Grant, loud and magnetic, laughed as she poured cheap wine into paper cups. "One day we'll run our own business," Maya said. "You'll handle the numbers, I'll handle the charm." Back then, friendship felt eternal. No envy, no rivalry. But the night ended with Maya whispering, "Promise me you'll never leave me behind." Emma had promised. She kept that promise until success found her first. Years later, Emma's online design startup took off. Clients came from New York, Paris, and Tokyo. Her quiet income grew, her confidence bloomed, and her private bank account slowly filled. Maya, who'd quit her job after too many failed ventures, began to visit often, smiling but asking more questions than normal. "You're killing it," Maya would say, smile not reaching her eyes. "You deserve every bit of this, Em. But be careful, money changes people." Slow reflection. Emma remembered every warning, every subtle remark. The day Maya had helped her organize paperwork, she'd seen a single invoice marked Harper Consulting. Maya had looked at it too long. "What's this?" "Just freelance work," Emma had replied quickly. Maya murmured. "You always were good with secrets." From that moment, the friendship began to twist. Maya's hidden jealousy grew roots. Later, during a wine night with Ryan, Maya had casually said, "Ryan, do you ever wonder if Emma hides things from you? She's different lately." Ryan had frowned, curious. "What do you mean?" "Nothing serious, just she works late, keeps her laptop close. Maybe it's nothing." That was all it took. The seed of suspicion planted neatly between husband and wife. Now, sitting at her desk, Emma saw the full picture. Maya's false concern, her fake sympathy, her quiet manipulation. Everything had been deliberate. Emma opened her laptop. There in her inbox was a forwarded message from an unknown sender. The subject line read, "She's telling him everything." Inside were screenshots. Maya's chat with Ryan. "She's been hiding money. She doesn't trust you. I'll help you find out what she's planning." Emma's breath caught. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was strategic sabotage. She leaned back in her chair, hand over her belly, whispering, "She wanted his attention. She can have it." Her eyes glistened, not with tears, but with clarity. "I don't need to expose her. I just need to keep working." Her phone buzzed again. A text from Maya herself. "Can we meet tomorrow? I think you deserve the truth." Emma stared at the message, expression unreadable. The reflection of her monitor lit her eyes like fire. "Tomorrow, Maya," she whispered. "You'll get it too." In another part of town, Ryan's phone glowed with a new notification. A bank alert connected to Harper Consulting. The storm had quietly begun. The sound of the front door slamming echoed through the house like a gunshot. Emma Carter, 8 months pregnant, froze at the threshold. Cardboard boxes lined the hallway. Her clothes, her books. Even the framed wedding photo now face down inside one. Ryan Carter stood near the stairs, tie loosened, expression cold and final. Maya Grant leaned casually against the doorway, arms folded, pretending guilt while hiding a smirk. "Ryan, what's going on?" Emma asked, voice trembling. "You're leaving," he said simply. "I can't live like this anymore. You've been lying to me. I checked the accounts." "What is Harper Consulting, Emma?" Emma blinked, realizing Maya had told him everything. "You went through my private emails?" "Don't turn this around," Ryan snapped. "You've been hiding money, pretending to be helpless while I worked myself to death." Maya stepped forward, tone dripping with false concern. "Ryan, maybe we should give her a chance to explain." "No," he cut her off. "She's had enough chances." Emma's hand instinctively went to her belly. "Ryan, please. Let's talk about this somewhere else. There's nothing to talk about. You're leaving this house today. The baby kicked sharply. Pain rippled through her stomach. She steadied herself against the wall. Where will I go? She whispered. That's not my problem anymore. He tossed an envelope toward her. There's money in there. Enough for a motel. Karen Lewis, the neighbor, appeared at the open doorway, holding a grocery bag, her voice small. Is everything okay? Ryan turned, fake smile plastered on. Just a little misunderstanding, Karen. You know how emotional pregnancy can make women. Karen frowned. She doesn't look fine, Ryan. I said she's fine, he snapped, voice harsh. Maya stepped in quickly, pretending to calm him. Karen, please. It's better if you leave. Karen hesitated, eyes filled with quiet pity, then walked away. Ryan dragged Emma's suitcase to the porch. I'll send the papers this week. Don't make a scene. Emma looked at him one last time, not as a wife, but as a stranger seeing the man who destroyed his own soul. You think this makes you strong, she said softly, but it only shows how afraid you are. He scoffed, turning away. Keep your lectures. I've moved on. Maya looped her arm around his. Come on, Ryan. You've done enough. Emma stepped into the sunlight, her body trembling, but her eyes steady. The neighbor's blinds twitched. Someone filmed quietly. She sat on the curb beside her suitcase, tears streaming silently. The afternoon breeze carried the echo of laughter from inside. Maya's voice, Ryan's reply. She wiped her face, exhaled deeply, then reached into her bag and pulled out the sealed envelope Mr. Wes Jordan, her lawyer, had given her weeks ago. She tore it open. Inside was a contract confirming a $2 million deal signed under Harper Consulting. Her lips curved faintly. He thinks he threw me out, she whispered, but he just set me free. As she stood to call a cab, her phone buzzed with a new message. Meeting confirmed. Government contract. Carter Industry Supply. Her heart stilled for a moment, realization dawning. His company, she whispered. The same empire that kicked her out would soon come knocking on her door. The elevator doors opened to a narrow hallway, lined with peeling paint and the faint smell of rain. Emma Carter, barefoot and 8 months pregnant, carried a single suitcase and a folder marked Confidential. Every step echoed like the memory of the home she had just been thrown out of. Inside her new one-bedroom apartment, the walls were bare, the air cold, and the silence overwhelming. She placed her suitcase down, exhaled, and pressed her hand gently on her belly. We're safe now, she whispered. That's all that matters. A knock startled her. It was Grace Daniels, an older woman from next door, wrapped in a floral robe, holding a plate of cornbread. You must be the new tenant, Grace said kindly. I saw you come in. You look exhausted, sweetheart. Emma smiled weakly. Just a long day. Grace studied her swollen belly, sensing the heaviness behind the words. You don't have to be alone, dear. We all start over somewhere. Emma thanked her softly. After Grace left, she sat on the edge of her new bed, a thin mattress on the floor, and opened her laptop. The glow of the screen illuminated her tired but determined eyes. Unread messages flooded in, clients from New York, London, and Tokyo, each confirming new projects for Harper Consulting. Her hands trembled as she typed responses, her body aching but her mind sharp. Slow reflection. Outside, thunder rumbled. Inside, she worked through the night. Freedom after betrayal had a strange rhythm, quiet but powerful. Every keystroke was a rebellion against everything Ryan had said. You're nothing without me. She remembered his words as if they were carved into her memory. Without my name, you'll fade. Yet here she was, signing contracts under her maiden name, Harper, the name he'd once mocked for sounding too ordinary. She paused to stretch, staring at the blinking cursor on her screen. Her phone vibrated. A text from Noah King, her downstairs neighbor, a single father who had helped carry her boxes earlier. Need help setting up your Wi-Fi? I used to fix networks before life went sideways. She smiled for the first time in days. Sure, come by tomorrow, she replied. For the first time, she didn't feel invisible. In the soft hum of her laptop fan, she heard her own transformation beginning. Quiet power replacing despair. Patience turning into a weapon. Strategic intelligence guiding every move. The clock hit 3 a.m. She saved her progress and leaned back, whispering, He thinks he ended my story, but he just gave it a new chapter. Her email notification dinged again. Subject line: contract adjustment, Carter Industries supplier transfer. Her eyes widened. Carter Industries, Ryan's company. Grace's voice echoed faintly through the thin wall next door, humming an old gospel tune about justice and redemption. Emma closed her laptop slowly, her expression unreadable. Let's see how fate plays its cards, she murmured. Tomorrow Ryan would learn that the same firm he betrayed had quietly become his company's lifeline. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as Emma Carter stepped through the doors, her belly round beneath a simple cream dress. The air smelled of old paper and polished wood. Cameras clicked faintly. The gossip had spread fast. The pregnant wife facing public divorce. At the front, Ryan Carter adjusted his suit jacket, flashing the smug smile of a man convinced he'd already won. Maya Grant sat beside him in a fitted blazer, pretending sympathy, but her eyes gleamed with triumph. Judge Thompson, stern and composed, cleared his throat. We're here to finalize the divorce between Ryan and Emma Carter. Emma took her seat calmly beside her lawyer, Mr. Wes Jordan, an older man with kind eyes and a steady voice. Ryan leaned slightly toward her, voice low and mocking. Let's make this quick, Emma. I have a lunch meeting with investors. She didn't look at him. Of course, she said softly. Time is money, right? The contrast between them was clear. One chasing control, the other holding quiet composure. Judge Thompson adjusted his glasses. Mrs. Carter, do you understand the terms presented? Yes, Your Honor, Emma replied, voice steady. Ryan's lawyer, Patrick Dean, stood holding the document. My client has offered a generous settlement. Mrs. Carter will receive basic support until after delivery. The words hung heavy. Basic support for a woman carrying his child. Lydia, the court clerk, glanced at Emma with quiet pity, while Dean Ward, the paralegal, whispered something to Patrick, grinning smugly. Ryan smirked. This is for the best. You can move on peacefully. Emma met his gaze for the first time. Peace isn't something you can give, Ryan. It's something you lose. A few people shifted in their seats. Even Judge Thompson's pen paused midair. Mr. Jordan leaned toward her, whispering, You can walk away stronger. Just sign it. Emma took the gold pen in her trembling hand, the same one Ryan had used to humiliate her in front of their friends weeks ago. She signed, the ink gliding like closure itself. Ryan exhaled, relief flooding his features. Finally, he stood, shaking hands with Patrick. Cameras flashed from the back of the room. Maya reached for his arm, pretending to help him gather his papers. Emma rose quietly. Congratulations, she said softly. You've won the show. Ryan frowned. What's that supposed to mean? She smiled faintly. You'll understand when the lights go out. Outside the courthouse, the air was warm, filled with the hum of traffic and whispers from onlookers. Emma stood beneath the wide stone steps, the city stretching behind her. She pressed a hand to her belly. We did it, she murmured. We're free now. Her phone buzzed. A message from Ava Morgan, her tech analyst ally. Contract accepted. Harper Consulting now registered as official supplier for Carter Industries. Emma's heart skipped. The timing was poetic. Behind her, Maya's laughter rang out, sharp and bright. See, I told you she'd sign. Emma turned slightly, voice calm, words deliberate. Enjoy your victory, Maya. It's the last one you'll get. That night, Ryan's company would receive an urgent notice. Their biggest supplier had changed ownership. The luxury rooftop restaurant glowed like a crown above Atlanta's skyline. Cameras clicked. Laughter sparkled like champagne bubbles. Ryan Carter and Maya Grant sat at the center table, surrounded by investors and socialites. To anyone watching, they looked like royalty celebrating a flawless empire. To us, Ryan said, raising his glass, to power, to freedom, and to winning. Maya smiled, clinking his glass. And to money. You always said power means nothing without it. The waiter poured another round of champagne. Reporters lingered nearby, whispering. One of them murmured, That's Ryan Carter, the CEO who left his wife for his assistant. Bold move. Ryan grinned, pretending not to hear. Maya leaned close. Ignore them. Soon they'll write about our new expansion. I talked to the accountants. We can move client reserves temporarily into the acquisition fund. It's legal? Enough. He hesitated. That's company money, Maya. Relax, she said, brushing his shoulder. You'll replace it before the audit. It's how real power works. He looked at her face, smiling, confident, dangerous, and nodded. The music swelled, drowning his conscience. Across the street at a small cafe, Emma Carter sat by the window with Ava Morgan. The glow from the rooftop glimmered on her laptop screen as she reviewed Carter Industries' financial records. Ava pointed at one line, eyes widening. They're transferring funds labeled as consulting expenses to an offshore account. Emma's tone was calm but razor-sharp. To Maya's name, Ava's jaw tightened. Do we expose them? Not yet, Emma said. Let them believe they're untouchable. The louder they celebrate, the harder they'll fall. Back at the rooftop, Maya scrolled through her phone. Look, honey, Harper Consulting just got another government contract. Funny how fast small companies rise these days? Ryan frowned slightly. Never heard of them. Maya smirked. Then you're not paying attention. The irony cut deep, but he didn't realize it. Harper Consulting, Emma's secret firm, was already taking over his empire one contract at a time. Charles Dane, one of Ryan's board allies, approached the table. Ryan, investors are worried. They saw the transfers. It looks bad. Tell them to trust me, Ryan snapped. I'm in control. Charles shook his head. No one believes that anymore. He walked away, leaving Ryan to simmer under the spotlight. Maya touched his arm softly. Don't mind him. You're a genius. They just envy you. But her eyes flickered. Cold, calculating. She was already texting another man under the table. The screen lit up with a message. Funds received. Transfer confirmed. CJ. The next morning, Ryan opened his email and froze. The subject line read, Urgent, Federal Audit Notification, Suspicious Financial Activity. His hands trembled. Maya stood behind him, pretending to be shocked, whispering softly, Don't worry, baby, I'll fix it. But as she turned away, the camera caught her faint smile reflected in the glass. Tomorrow, Ryan would discover that the woman he trusted most was the one who emptied his accounts and handed his downfall to fate on a silver tray. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed through the glass corridors of Carter Industries. Panic had replaced pride. Screens displayed falling stock prices. Employees whispered nervously as Ryan Carter stormed past, his face pale, his once confident stride replaced by anger and fear. Who leaked our financial transfers? He barked. Charles Dane, his senior board member, followed closely, holding a stack of reports. We don't know yet, but the auditors flagged an offshore transaction, linked to an account under Maya's signature. Ryan stopped cold. That's impossible. She only moves money when I approve it. Charles sighed. Then someone's using your name. Because it's signed with your digital key. The hallway fell silent. Ryan's chest tightened. His empire, the one he'd built on pride and control, was crumbling from the inside. Maya Grant appeared at the far end of the hall, sunglasses on, phone in hand, acting untouched by the chaos. Baby, relax, she said softly, ignoring the tension. It's a system glitch. I'll talk to accounting. Ryan's voice cracked. Maya, they're investigating us for embezzlement. Whispers spread among employees watching from behind glass. The once respected CEO now looked desperate. That night, Ryan sat in his dark office, staring at the skyline that used to make him feel powerful. The city lights looked colder now. He poured himself a drink, hands shaking. How did it all fall apart? He muttered. The door opened quietly. Maya walked in, her perfume filling the room. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You're overreacting, she said, sitting on his desk. You're still Ryan Carter. Everyone will forgive you once the dust settles. He studied her carefully, noticing things he once ignored. Her new phone, her diamond bracelet, her growing distance. Maya, he said slowly, how much money did you move? Not much, she replied lightly. Just enough to protect us. He stood abruptly. Protect us or protect yourself? Her silence answered for her. Meanwhile, across town, Emma Carter watched from her office window as her own company, Harper Consulting, prepared new contracts. Ava Morgan handed her a file. We got another client today. Guess who they dropped? Carter Industries, Emma said softly without looking up. Ava smiled. They're panicking. Word is, an audit's coming. Emma closed the file gently. Then the truth is finally catching up. Back at Carter Industries, Ryan stared at his computer as a new email arrived. Federal audit notification. Immediate compliance required. His vision blurred. His empire was collapsing faster than he could breathe. He looked up, but Maya was gone. Only her perfume lingered in the room. Ryan opened his company account dashboard. The balance blinked. 0. He slammed his desk, shouting, Maya! From his phone, a message appeared. Don't call me. It's over. M. Tomorrow he would discover that the woman he destroyed his marriage for had vanished with every dollar he owned. And the law would come knocking next. The Carter Industries boardroom was a war zone in suits. Reporters crowded outside the glass doors, their cameras flashing through the blinds. The board sat in tense silence as Ryan Carter, exhausted and disheveled, slammed a folder on the polished mahogany table. This company is mine, he snapped. I built it. I will fix this. Charles Dane folded his arms. Fix what, Ryan? The empty accounts? The missing investors? Or the mistress who just transferred every dollar offshore? Ryan's jaw tightened. His voice cracked. Maya was framed. From the corner, Nina Cole, the company's legal head, dropped another folder. No, Ryan, she wasn't. We traced the accounts. She used your login credentials. The funds went to a shell company named Grant Holdings, registered in the Cayman Islands. Gasps filled the room. Phones buzzed with incoming notifications. News alerts were already spreading. Emma Carter's face appeared on the projection screen, displayed from a live investor video call. The room went silent. Her calm, poised image filled the space he once dominated. Good morning, everyone, she said. Her voice was steady, elegant. I'm here as the majority stakeholder in Harper Consulting. We've just acquired Carter Industries' largest contracts. Ryan froze. What are you doing, Emma? Protecting the jobs your arrogance endangered, she replied, and ensuring your employees don't pay for your greed. The board members murmured, torn between guilt and relief. Charles Dane looked down, then spoke quietly. Ryan, she's doing what you should have done months ago. Ryan's vision blurred with fury. You're all traitors, every one of you. Emma's expression softened, not with pity, but understanding. No, Ryan, this isn't betrayal. This is balance. Her calm tone struck harder than anger ever could. She continued, You left me thinking I was powerless, but you never realized silence doesn't mean weakness. It means strategy. Every word landed like a hammer. Outside the boardroom, reporters swarmed. Through the glass, flashes reflected off Ryan's pale face. The man who once basked in attention now looked trapped by it. Emma, please, he whispered into the mic, voice cracking. Don't take everything. Her answer was quiet but firm. I didn't take it, Ryan. You gave it away. The call ended. The screen went black. Moments later, the boardroom doors burst open. 2 federal agents stepped in. Ryan Carter? He turned slowly, face drained of color. You're under investigation for corporate fraud and embezzlement. You'll need to come with us. Charles Dane whispered to himself. It's over. As they placed the cuffs on Ryan's wrists, reporters outside shouted questions. Cameras captured his fall from power in real time. He looked back at the screen, the reflection of his wife's logo, Harper Consulting, glowing behind him. Tomorrow he would wake up in a holding cell, realizing that the woman he discarded now owned the empire that bore his name. And the only freedom left to him would be to beg for mercy. The police car door slammed behind Ryan Carter as flashing red and blue lights painted his pale face. Cameras surrounded him like vultures. The once celebrated CEO who flaunted wealth and power was now handcuffed, led through the lobby of his own company as employees whispered in disbelief. That's him, one security guard murmured. Unbelievable, another said. He used to walk in here like a king. Inside the crowd, Maya Grant stood in her designer coat, sunglasses hiding her eyes. She didn't move. She didn't speak. When Ryan's gaze found hers through the crowd, desperation flickered in his voice. Maya, tell them the truth. You know I didn't steal that money. She tilted her head slightly, her face calm, unreadable. I don't know what you're talking about, she said softly, just loud enough for everyone to hear. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Maya, Ryan whispered, disbelief turning to dread. You're lying. I'm moving on, Ryan, she said, turning away. You should too. Hours later, Ryan sat alone in the holding cell, the gray walls pressed against him like the silence he used to weaponize. His phone vibrated once. A message from Maya. Hands trembling. He opened it. It's over. I met someone else. You'll figure things out. M. He dropped the phone. The sound echoed like finality. The woman he destroyed his marriage for had now destroyed him. Meanwhile, at Harper Consulting, Emma Carter watched the breaking news on her office TV. Ava Morgan entered with 2 cups of coffee. It's official, Ava said quietly. He's been denied bail for now. Maya's testifying against him. Emma didn't smile. She just nodded. Let justice run its course. We won't need to lift a finger. Charles Dane, who now consulted for Harper Consulting, added, The board's dissolving what's left of Carter Industries. The name's finished. Emma closed her laptop gently. No name built on cruelty survives. It collapses under its own lies. The room fell quiet. Even with victory near, Emma's expression stayed composed. No joy, just peace. Later that night, Maya sat in a luxury penthouse suite, laughing with a new man. Her phone buzzed again. Another transfer confirmation. He really was stupid, she said. Left everything in my name. Her new lover smirked. And now you're rich. Maya raised her glass. To freedom. But as the night grew quiet, her phone vibrated again. This time the screen read, Federal investigation. Fraud and money laundering linked to Maya Grant. Her smile froze. The next morning, her penthouse door burst open. 2 agents entered. Maya Grant, you're under arrest. As they led her out, reporters shouted, Is it true you betrayed Ryan Carter and stole from him? She looked up at the flashing cameras, trembling now. He deserved it, she whispered, but her voice cracked. In the next scene, the world that once mocked Emma would watch her rise publicly, while the man who once claimed to own everything would fall to his knees before her. The ballroom of the Atlanta Grand Hilton shimmered beneath chandeliers. Hundreds gathered for the Harper Foundation Gala, a night celebrating women in business and financial independence. Cameras flashed, capturing Emma Carter as she stepped onto the red carpet in a white gown that glowed under the lights. Calm, graceful, untouchable. Across the street, Ryan Carter stood behind a cluster of reporters, hidden under a gray coat. His face looked thinner, drained. Since his release on bail, he'd lost his company, his fortune, and every friend who once cheered him on. The only thing left was regret. Inside, the announcer's voice echoed, Tonight, we honor Emma Carter, founder of Harper Consulting, a symbol of resilience and empowerment. The crowd erupted in applause. Emma walked toward the stage as Ava Morgan and Charles Dane smiled proudly. Karen Lewis, their longtime neighbor who once pitied Emma, whispered to her friend, Can you believe that's the same woman he humiliated? As Emma stood on stage, her speech began. 3 years ago, I lost everything, or so I thought. But sometimes losing what breaks you is the first step to finding what builds you. Her voice trembled slightly, not from nerves, but from memory. The audience listened in silence. I built this foundation to help women rebuild, because every scar can become strength. Applause thundered again. Cameras flashed. Outside, Ryan watched the broadcast on a large screen through the window. Her words pierced deeper than any courtroom sentence. Karen Lewis spotted him through the glass. She whispered, He's here. Reporters turned. The crowd shifted. Suddenly, Ryan was exposed under the bright hotel lights. Whispers grew. Is that Ryan Carter? Didn't his mistress get arrested? He lost everything. Ryan tried to back away, but the cameras followed him. The same media that once celebrated his success now recorded his humiliation. Inside, the glass doors opened. Security hesitated, unsure whether to remove him. Emma turned, meeting his eyes from across the room. Ryan stepped forward, trembling, ignoring the murmurs. Emma, his voice cracked. Please, I'm sorry. You were right. About everything. The room fell silent. He dropped to his knees before her. The man who once called her worthless, now broken and begging for forgiveness. Please, Emma, just forgive me. Her face remained calm, her voice gentle. I forgive you, Ryan, not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to carry your darkness any longer. He sobbed, head bowed. She added softly, but you can't return. My peace isn't yours to destroy again. Reporters' cameras flashed as Ryan was led out by security, tears streaking down his face. Outside, he looked up at the billboard glowing above the hotel. Emma's face beside the words, Harper Foundation, Rebuilding Lives. His lips trembled as he whispered, She rebuilt everything I destroyed. In the next scene, he would face the final reckoning, the silence of a man left behind, watching the woman he once belittled rise to heights he could never reach again. Rain poured across the cracked window of a tiny downtown apartment where Ryan Carter sat alone at a wobbly table. The once powerful CEO now lived surrounded by boxes, unpaid bills, and faded newspapers bearing his downfall on their front pages. His hands trembled as he watched Emma Carter's face appear on the small television, smiling gracefully at a global conference. The chyron read, Harper Foundation expands to 15 countries, empowering women through financial independence. Her calm voice carried through the static. Every ending can become a beginning if you let pain teach you. Ryan's lips quivered. That used to be my line, he whispered bitterly. He looked down at his empty wallet. No cards, no money. Just a folded photo of him and Emma from happier days. A knock echoed from the door. Karen Lewis, his old neighbor, stood outside with groceries. She stared at him, pity softening her face. You look thinner, Ryan. Have you been eating? He shrugged. I'm fine. Emma didn't destroy you, she said quietly. You did that to yourself. He turned away, voice breaking. She forgave me, Karen, but she walked away. Do you know how that feels? Karen sighed, setting the groceries down. Yes, it feels like consequences. She left without another word, leaving silence heavier than judgment. Ryan sat down, staring at the rain-streaked glass. His reflection looked older, defeated. His luxury cars were gone, his penthouse repossessed, and his friends stopped calling. Even Maya Grant, the mistress who betrayed him, now served a sentence for fraud. He whispered to himself, Everyone I used me back. That's how karma works. A small voice from the television broke his thoughts. Emma, being interviewed live. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, she said. It's about freeing yourself from hate so it can't control you. Her tone wasn't bitter. It was peaceful, strong, whole. Ryan sank into the chair, tears forming in his tired eyes. For the first time, he understood what she meant. His punishment wasn't prison. It was watching her thrive in the light while he faded in the dark. As the segment ended, the reporter asked Emma, If your ex-husband were watching this right now, what would you say to him? Emma paused. The crowd fell silent. Then she smiled softly. I'd say, thank you, because losing him taught me how to find myself. The audience erupted in applause. Ryan stood frozen, staring at her image, whispering through the static, You did find yourself, and it brought me to my knees. In the next and final scene, he would face her once more, not in anger, but in humility, closing the circle where betrayal birthed redemption and forgiveness became the final victory. The Grand Atlanta Civic Auditorium glimmered under the spotlight of the Harper Foundation Global Awards. Reporters filled every row, cameras flashing like lightning. The crowd waited for the woman who had risen from betrayal to build an empire of hope. Emma Carter. The host's voice echoed proudly. Tonight, we celebrate a woman whose strength turned heartbreak into legacy. Emma Carter. Applause thundered as Emma stepped onto the stage in a soft ivory gown, radiant beneath the chandelier light. The entire hall stood, except one figure at the back. Ryan Carter. His hair was gray at the edges, his once flawless suit now wrinkled and loose. He looked smaller than anyone remembered. Hands shaking, he clutched an envelope, his last apology. Emma! His voice cracked through the hall. The applause faded. Heads turned. The cameras whirred to life. Gasps spread like wildfire. Emma froze mid-step, her expression calm but guarded. Security moved, but she raised her hand slightly, a quiet signal to let him speak. Ryan walked toward the stage, trembling, broken. "I came here tonight, not to cause trouble, just to say I'm sorry," he said, voice shaking. "You were the heart I mistook for weakness." His eyes glistened. "I lost everything. The company, the house, the money. Even the woman I destroyed my marriage for turned on me. I thought power meant control, but it meant nothing without you." The hall fell silent. Even the camera stopped moving. Emma's gaze softened slightly, not with pity, but with understanding. She stepped forward slowly, her voice steady. "Ryan, I don't hate you. I forgave you a long time ago. Not because you deserved it, but because I needed peace." He fell to his knees, voice breaking. "Please, Emma, just forgive me in front of them. Let them know I wasn't always a monster." She held the microphone gently, her words carrying through the hall. "Forgiveness is not return. You cannot rebuild what you burned with arrogance. My peace is not yours to destroy again." Gasps echoed again. Tears streamed down Ryan's face as flashes from cameras lit the moment. The once powerful husband kneeling before the woman he had once humiliated. Karen Lewis, seated in the front row, whispered to her friend, "This is justice, the kind that teaches without revenge." Suddenly, blue lights flashed across the glass walls. The sound of police radios echoed through the lobby. 2 federal agents entered briskly. "Ryan Carter," one said firmly, "you're under arrest for new charges of embezzlement and perjury. We have evidence from Maya Grant's final deposition." The hall went dead silent. Ryan's lips parted, disbelief washing over his face. He turned toward Emma one last time. "Emma," he whispered. Her eyes didn't waver. "Justice always arrives, Ryan. Sometimes late, but never lost." The agents cuffed him as cameras flashed wildly. The same reporters who once praised his empire now filmed his final downfall. As he was led out under the flashing lights, his tearful eyes met the glowing billboard outside the window. Emma's face beside the words, "Harper Foundation, Rebuilding Lives." He whispered, voice trembling, "You rebuilt everything I destroyed, and it brought me to my knees." In the quiet hours after the arrest, Emma would face her final reflection. Not as a victim or avenger, but as a woman finally free to live without looking back. Morning sunlight poured through the glass walls of the Harper Foundation headquarters overlooking Atlanta. The city buzzed below, but inside peace reigned. Emma Carter stood beside a group of young women, all former victims of betrayal and loss, now entrepreneurs under her mentorship. She smiled softly as Ava Morgan entered with a tablet. "Another grant approved," Ava said. "This one's for a shelter in Chicago, under your name." Emma nodded, her eyes calm. "Good, let it stand for second chances." She walked toward the stage where the foundation's new motto shimmered across a banner. "Turn pain into power." Reporters took photos as Emma addressed the room. "Years ago, I thought losing everything was the end, but it was the beginning. We rise not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove ourselves right." Applause filled the hall. Outside, a quiet memorial garden stood. A plaque read, "Forgiveness is freedom, E.C." As Emma looked out the window, a gentle smile touched her face. The world she rebuilt was peaceful now, and for the first time, the past no longer hurt. He lived in silence. She lived in purpose, and that became her final victory. Emma's foundation logo glows against the skyline.